there was a little 2-year-old girl watching this building go up. And that would be me. I was 2 years old. I'm 2 years older than this building. Isn't that fantastic?
You know, at the 100th anniversary, that's a biggie. That's really a biggie. I think when we first came in 1917, yeah.
Well, the Mullen Home will be here 100 years. At first it was made for the miners and the people that really down on their luck. And it's mostly for those who can't afford to live anyplace else.
So many people live on the street because they don't know about places like this. It's wonderful to just go to bed and know that you're going to have a place to live tomorrow.
It's supposed to be our home, and they try their darndest to make it that.
It's a haven.
We are all truly blessed to live in a home like this, run by the Little Sisters of the Poor.
In 1839, on a cold winter night in the French town of Saint-Servan, Jeanne Jugon, foundress of the Little Sisters of the Poor, came upon an elderly, blind, infirmed woman. Realizing this woman was homeless, Jeanne carried her back home, gave up her bed, and made a place for herself in the attic. It was from that simple act of kindness when Jeanne's vocation became clear. Eventually, more would come to her door in need, and other young women that shared her passion came to help her elderly poor. As the community grew, locals, struck by the women's humble service, gave them a name, the Little Sisters of the Poor. Today, the sisters have homes all over the world.
We're on all the continents and over 30 countries.
From Africa to France, of course, to Italy.
Even in her own lifetime, she saw the Little Sisters coming to America.
Part of that expansion included a home in Denver, Colorado. Prominent citizens J.K. Mullen and his wife Catherine offered to finance a plot of land in North Denver that, in his words, would be a memorial for the benefit of the aged. In 1917, the first Little Sisters arrived in Denver. And for 100 years, countless have called the Mullen home simply home.
They'll say, what's different about the Mullen Home? I'll tell you what's different. We love these people. They're just not here and we're getting a paycheck and, you take 8 hours a day and you work. Yeah, that's not it. Even our staff, they love them. It's part of their family.
Uncrown thy road with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Wow!
I'm still a youngster, but I'm only 86 years old. Yeah, but when you see some of the elderly ones here, like in their 90s, like I said, it's just beautiful.
There's a lot of people that don't have any body or anything, and they feel like they're not worth anything, but these people are worth everything. They've got riches, they're walking history books.
My mother said she went from door to door begging for a piece of bread for the kids. That's when the Depression came.
And I moved to Denver when I graduated from high school during the war. And I was an airplane mechanic on the B-29s. That was my first job.
Volunteered with the Ace Memorial Quilt for right from the beginning. And went to Washington, D.C. and read names. It was the most exhilarating, exciting experience I've ever had. I was on the mall. Imagine this kid from Fayetteville, New York, standing on the mall, reading names.
I grew up about a half a block from here when I was 3. Spent my early years from the age of 8 till I volunteered from 50s to the 1960s. I was here when they added on the new addition. Worked here at the desk and in the dining room, and now I'm a resident. It's a God-given home for many and definitely for me.
It's the best place in the world to live. It's hard to get in here, but everybody's treated so nice.
You accept any religion and no religion. It doesn't matter. What you have to be is older and that you really need some help. And that's the poorer the better. That's the way we like them.
Do you have a lot of money? Do you have a house or something? I said, no, Mother. I said, I'm down to my last $200. So she called me back in a couple of weeks and just, Jeanette, just bring whatever belongings you have, just bring over. And that was a suitcase. And so she said, just plan on staying. It will be 25 years. Yeah, and 25 of the most fantastic, beautiful, loving years of my life. It's my home. It's my family. Yeah, okay.
And that's what makes the Little Sisters who we are, because of our founder, Jean Jugan. She wanted that family spirit.
St. Jean Jugan walked the streets with her basket and begged for food and clothing from local merchants on behalf of the elderly poor she cared for. Since the beginning, the community has been an integral part of the Little Sisters extended family.
This year we're spreading mulch. Last year we were doing a lot of painting, and it's just nice to be able to keep up this area. It feels good overall for us just to give.
Volunteers offer their time, talent, and resources.
My goodness sakes. You were really eating up a storm. Okay.
I have a couple students here. I enjoy my students. I'm volunteer.
Yeah, I've been here about 6 years, I guess. And it's my volunteer work. So.
He does a good job on everybody.
Well, the price is right, though.
Price is
right, buddy?
right. No, I'm just kidding.
And although the basket has been replaced with a van, the sisters still rely on the generosity of local businesses for their work.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless you.
Thank you.
Asparagus, too. Oh, my golly. They had a good crop. There's quite a history on the sisters going out to collect. It continues even to this day in all our homes. There's a little sister that's designated to be the beggar, and she finds companies that will donate on a regular basis.
Put your choppers in, sister. We got corn.
Asparagus is so expensive, and you give it to us. Our residents eat like kings and queens.
That's because they are.
That's right.
They're somebody's mom and dad.
Oh, is that kale?
Bouquet, sister, for you.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored.
You shouldn't have.
Here's a little corsage. You just pin it right there.
Come on.
Well, sorry, sisters, that one slipped.
We're very, very fortunate that people are very generous and willing to help us.
Relying on Providence, it's always kind of an adventure to see what's going to come in. We had like 20 bags of Granny Smith apples, and we wanted to peel them, so I just kind of spontaneously got a couple card tables together, went around and recruited a few residents, and we just started peeling the apples. The kitchen was delighted. They picked it right up, and that evening we had homemade applesauce. it's kind of just being at home. You know, what do you feel like doing? Well, let's do this. It doesn't all have to be planned out, just like in a family.
I like to move around while I'm still able to. One day I won't be able to move around.
I love everything they do. They always come and they ask you, you know, do you want to participate? Do you want to do this? We're going to do that. I'm always there.
Yeah, the bus takes us shopping once a week. And we went to Cabrini Shrine the other day. We went to the Botanic Gardens. There's no end to what they do.
Of course, there's Mass every day, which is wonderful.
So if anybody ever gets bored, shame on them. It's their own fault. Because, you know, they don't make you go down and do these things, but they encourage a person.
I had actually one lady call me up and said, would you check my mother's phone? She doesn't answer me. I'm always calling her. She never answers. I said, well, right now, she's out at the opera. She said, my mother? I said, yeah. And well, I tried to get her yesterday. I said, well, they went to the rodeo yesterday. And she says, my mother? And I said, yeah.
There's something for everyone, actually, if they wanted to partake. I-19. Bingo we have. I run the library, and I love that.
We have our group activities, but then you also take the individualized needs of each resident and utilize what they love to do, and you implement that.
Well, there was a pile of books right over in that corner. And I asked Sister Mary Grace, I guess. I said, can I do something with those books? Can I sort them out? She said, you can do anything you want with them. I said, I could put them on the shelf. And she said, sure. And I said, well, there aren't very many. I said, well, how do I get the books? And she said, you have to beg. So I made up a couple of flyers, and before we knew it, boxes kept coming in, and they'd leave big boxes of books on the table and on the floor. Now I'm reading the book section in the paper on Sunday, which I used to read it anyway, or glance at it. But now I read it and see if we have some of the books, and we do, so that makes me feel good.
Give them a chance. You know, they're not dead yet. Here, you live until you die, you know?
There's just nothing like the spirit of this home. It's just amazing. There's the sisters, their ministry to love these residents and give them the best of the last of their years, you know. And even when they go home to heaven, I've never seen anything so peaceful.
When I was young, I hated funerals or anything to do with it. And so when I first met the Little Sisters of the Poor and was then telling my family, you know, what they do, they were shocked. Like, you, of all people? But it was really actually my first experience in being with the sisters and watching with a resident who we knew was soon going to be leaving us for the Father's house. Just the peace. There's something just very healing about it.
We stay with them when they're dying so that they'll never die alone. And let me tell you, you want to get perspective on life? Stay with somebody that's dying and really think about your life. A lot of stuff doesn't make a hill of beans.
It's a real way for us just to show the respect of life, like the beauty, the dignity of each life.
And they have so much care and love in their heart. It's not a show.
The real time when I really knew I had a vocation was I went shopping with my mother, and this little old lady, it looked so frail, she was buying a quarter pound of bologna, and it just ripped my heart out. I was like, oh, that's probably what that lady's gonna live on all week. And I said, ain't no way that some lady's gonna live on a quarter pound of bologna when I get older, because I'm gonna take care of that.
It's just a beautiful experience to be here on a daily basis, and it's just the most gratifying experience I've ever had in my life.
How could I have things any better? I can do, this is home.
And to be here for a long time. Long time.
I just hope that I can stay here till God takes me.
This is where I want to be. Wouldn't be any place else. Pay me $1 billion to move. No way, Jose.
But this place is just a wonderful place to be. That's all there is to it.
Everything's perfect.